Hi, my name is Estefania Pien. I am the founder of E4 Education, and I'm also a doctoral student at the Gilbert School of Education at the University of California, Santa Barbara. I am a designer and I'm also a researcher in the field of education for sustainable development, having worked with schools, governments, organizations, different parts of the world for almost 2 decades, and helping them, assisting them on their journey towards achieving education for sustainable development. Through this very short video and the poster, I'm going to provide an example of how educators can create what I call integrated lesson plans. That is, lesson plans for a core subject that have weaved learning about and for sustainability. If you have any questions about this video, the poster, or simply interested and you want to receive more thorough examples of these lesson plans or other processes associated with education for sustainable development, please do not hesitate to email me at e4educationca@gmail.com. Okay, so let's start. Let's talk about what is the need. Well, we know that educators around the world are faced with the task of not only delivering quality education for our youth, now with the amount of access to information that our students have, educators are also faced with the task of teaching our students about different sustainability issues. Many times students are demanding that beyond learning about these issues, they're also acquiring the skills and the knowledge to be able to address these issues. So while teachers are faced with these new pressures due to the different challenges and crises that we're inheriting to our youth, they continue to be underprepared. They're being taught how to teach to the standards, how to prepare students for tests, and their teacher education programs. And even while they're in-service teachers, there's very little training on education for sustainable development, and also how to create daily lessons, how to conceive and how to deliver learning activities that have truly integrated learning about and for sustainability. So what is learning about and for sustainability? Well, we know that there are different things that can be considered depending on where you're in the world, but there's a couple of them that we could say that are fundamental components of learning about and for sustainability. That includes, number one, critical thinking and questioning, being able to deliver lesson plans and learning activities mainly that not only have our students learn about the causes of a sustainability issue, but really be able to analyze what should have been done differently in the past, what needs to be happening right now in the present. So these sustainability issues are hold. It also includes being able to teach our students through activities where their personal values and their community values are expressed and they're shared, not only at a classroom level, but at a school level. It also implies systemic thinking. Students need to be able to really connect all the dots, not only when it pertains to a sustainability issue, but also when a solution is designed and a solution is implemented. What are the different things that are connected and how is that chain reaction happening in a positive way? It also includes cultivating empathy and interest, not only for local issues and local communities, but also for issues that perhaps seem very alien to them. But it's a very fundamental part of learning about and for sustainability. It also implies that students are given with lots of platforms and spaces and moments so they can ideate, they can innovate, they can create, they can feel like they are actual architects or they could be architects of solutions. And perhaps these solutions won't be immediate, or perhaps some of these ideas won't actually become something that creates a change. But the fact that they are actually taking the time to create or innovate these ideas is what really matters for us in the daily classroom when we're teaching with learning about and for sustainability at the very core. Okay, and lastly, but not least, really cultivating and fostering local and global citizenship that evidently goes very much hand by hand with all the previous components, but very much so with empathy and interest. So when we want to create a type of learning activity or give a daily instruction with learning about and for sustainability very much at the core, we can have these different components or even principles at hand as a friendly reminder so we don't forget about them. So very much in alignment with these different ways to achieve learning about and for sustainability are the different pedagogies that the field of education for sustainable development really encourages everybody to use. I'm going to go through them very quickly because for this poster presentation, the focus is an example of an integrated lesson plan, but I do want to mention some of these pedagogies because they really provide the tools that the teachers need so they can deliver these very progressive, non-traditional learning activities. So these can include personal reflections, field work, outdoor learning, case studies, learning about a recent critical incident, group discussions, debates, and even community serving lessons. Okay, so now specifically about how can teachers create an integrated lesson plan for a core subject. With the very important consideration that most of our teachers have very limited time, they have very limited resources, they have received probably little to no training on education for sustainable development, and many of them have very little knowledge and expertise on different sustainability issues. So with all those things in mind, this process or methodology that I'm going to briefly explain really serves as a very powerful tool. So teachers can start the process of ideating, structuring a lesson plan that is going to have a sustainability issue really weaved into all the different components and therefore through every single day of classroom instruction. So the first step is the issue, selecting the sustainability issue that the teacher wants the students to learn about and for. In this case, the example is specific to deforestation in connection with climate change. So that's step number one. That's the first thing you as a teacher should do. You don't start thinking about anything else but that sustainability issue that you and perhaps also your students are interested in. As a second step, you are going to determine what is the academic content or the topic that you need to cover, specific to the timing of the year that you're in or what your academic program is dictating. Then you can just detail that. In this example, it's adverbs, and the lesson plan is a real example from a real lesson plan that was constructed by a teacher during a training session with me, and it was for 4th grade. As the third step, it's simply determining what are the standards that I need to achieve as the last step. So many teachers like to include a code. Depending on the country where they're in, they utilize codes for the standards. Sometimes they call them learning parameters. And some teachers prefer to simply provide a qualitative description. Either is fine. In this case, there's a qualitative description of what are the learning parameters or the standards for this lesson plan. So once those three really basic components have been detailed. What is the sustainability issue? What is the academic content? And which are the standards or the standard that the lesson plan needs to achieve? Then the teacher can really start ideating the different type of learning activities that need to happen in the classroom. So this sustainability issue is brought to the knowledge of the students, but also the students are able to have that sustainability thinking happening through every single lesson, while at the same time, they're learning all the pertinent academic content. So in this example, the first step that was chosen by the teacher was to show the students a very short documentary on deforestation, regional in North, Central, and South America, while at the same time, or afterwards, introducing a video on climate change, a very age-appropriate, very dynamic and easy to follow video that explained the different causes and the mechanics of climate change. Now, it's very important to highlight that this specific teacher had a very little knowledge and understanding on the connection between both deforestation and climate change, and had very little knowledge on the mechanics of climate change. So it was very important for her to bring these opportunities so the students will be learning about these two sustainability issues with her. So she was positioning herself as a co-learner, which was really powerful because it really allowed the students to, so it's really important that if you are in the same situation as this teacher and you don't feel you have enough knowledge and expertise about these sustainability issues, you bring to the classroom opportunities so everyone can be a co-learner. That really allows the students to understand that you as an educator, as a teacher, are not just there to tell them what needs to be learned and that you hold always the knowledge, but that you have also an interest of learning with them. So that co-learning, it's very powerful. Okay, so as a second activity, the teacher determined that it was important to start introducing the foundations on adverbs. And then subsequently, she gave the students classwork on adverbs. But that classwork meant that the students were reading documents specific on deforestation, and while they were doing the reading, they were underlining the adverbs. So that was her first activity where she really connected deforestation with adverbs. Very simple, but at the same time very effective, so she could connect those two things. She didn't want that connection to happen too many lessons after the students have watched the videos, the video and the documentary, because she wanted that information to be fresh in their heads. As a fourth activity, once the students have really consolidated the mastery and the knowledge on correct adverb usage and identification, she decided to assign classwork where the students would create their own sentences with correct use of adverbs, while at the same time they were conveying messages about their feelings, their opinions about deforestation and climate change, simply to give them an opportunity for them to share their personal values and perhaps also their community values. And then after that, for the same afternoon, she actually assigned homework where the students needed to construct sentences where there was an incorrect use of adverbs. They needed to explain to the teacher how that use of adverbs should be done correctly. But half of those sentences needed to provide ideas on how the students at an individual level, at the home, at the or at the school could really help reduce greenhouse gas emissions, or also their personal or community input on deforestation, on local deforestation. So that was a really important assignment because it really allowed the students to not stay in that zone of eco-anxiety, but also feel like they could be architects of possible solutions. So as I said before, if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at e4educationca@gmail.com. And I wish you the best luck in your journey towards achieving education for sustainable development.